So this set as a whole, to give a little bit of background or kind of set things up right, we kicked it off and it went through like a couple different phases, right?
Uh, it was like Zeus fucking destroys you for like 12 games straight, and then
You destroy me
CChavez
for like 8.
Chavez tries a different strategy and it works for a little bit, and then Zeus is like, all right, just kidding, JK, JK, you're dead now.
Yeah,
That's basically how the set went.
I thought it was interesting because it started out and yeah, things were going fine for me, and then when you made a change and you played like a lot more stable, I guess, or defensive. I don't know what the best way
I
say
think I
it.
played way more offensive to start beating you,
Yeah.
because I was like, okay, this shit's not working. Like, I figured like it's kind of like how in Valerie matchups, where it's all like, well, you're just gonna have to grab the Scions. You're just gonna have to make the good jump ins
Mm-hmm.
or the good reads,
Right.
or you're fucked. That's it. So just make it. So I was like, I'm just gonna have to call out your command grabs. I'm gonna have to be aggressive and bait all your command grabs. I just have to. Oh well.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no other fucking choice. That's basically what went through my mind. I was like, you can't just consistently like beat them like
Mm-hmm.
with like good like with defense. You're just gonna eventually get in and you're fucked. So you're just gonna have to uh play the mind games.
Right. Yeah. I think that makes sense to me. What got me, or I think what felt like got me as we were going further in it is you like really dialed in your use of back A at
Yeah, I
that
mean
like spacing.
you're trying to like come in, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, well, maybe I could little by little get the damage in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no, well, I mean, unless you like read the back A, there's no real risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And hello, we got Dante and Jube here, or Jube.
They both suck. Who cares? Let's get some
very,
real viewers. You know what I'm
very,
saying?
very
Let's get
rude.
some real viewers in here.
Oh, I forgot. Uh, I have to be on the money with these
Oh,
replay transitions.
you're lucky. My replays are all on one.
Mm,
So if I play someone, I have to go. Like say we play a first to 15.
yeah.
It starts from match 1, and I can't skip it. I can't skip to match 15.
That's funny.
It's just like this was your set versus fucking Dr. Zeus. You ready? Ready? You ready for all these load screens, bro? I'm like, ah, fuck. Okay.
Great. Yeah, I went through and got some favorited. The 4-day stuff with DeGrey I think was pretty interesting.
Were you reacting or was it
So
just hard
I
reads?
don't know.
There's no fucking way you were reacting.
Yeah, that's what
There's
I
no
was thinking.
there's no tells in 4-day.
Yeah, so
In
I
the
think
quick 4-day.
what it comes down to is it's mostly prediction, but I think if depending on the spacing, you can do that 4-day, or if you do it early, it can hit late in the active frames, right? So
A
I
little
think
bit,
there's
yeah.
some cases where like it's right on that borderline of being able to like have some sort of cue, because when you started doing that whiffed throw, um, whenever I jumped in at you, there was a point where you'd start whiffing throw to mess with my like theoretical reaction with the jump super. I felt like I got way more inconsistent. It might have just been because you were doing 4-day less, right? I don't know.
Yeah, basically. Because 4-day has no tells, like
Yeah.
theoretically it's reactable, like frame wise,
Hmm.
but it's just the way how there's no tells in the animation, it's just not reactable.
Yeah. It does like stick DeGrey's hand behind him. Weirdly enough, throw does look kind of similar. It's very very early startup. DeGrey's weird though.
Yeah, I don't think it's reactable.
Hmm. I was a
It could be reactable if they put a like one more like tell before he like lunges forward,
Hmm.
because then it'd be reactable. Because there's a lot of like things that are the same startup. Like
Yeah.
I can react to Rook's forward A,
Yeah.
and it's around the same like frame data,
Hmm.
but it's just that Rook's forward A has like this tell before he even sticks out his foot, so you could react.
His is weird because it's got 7 startup frames, and then it's got some active on the first hitbox. But if I'm just poking with the boot, it's like it's closer to 20, isn't it? It's a substantially different thing.
Oh yeah, because I guess yeah, that's true. That is true actually.
I really liked. It was really dumb. In the set, I realized you were going to react to my forward A with parry, so I tried to space it where I was right outside of the parry. I was gonna whiff.
Oh yeah.
Made me laugh a lot. It wasn't. I don't think it was very good, but
I think it worked once, right?
yeah, it worked. I think it worked just once.
Yeah, yeah. But there's like I don't think all I did was like okay, I don't have super no more.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe one time when I did it, I got to like do another 4-day and poke you for 1 or something silly. I don't think it's anywhere near worth the risk. It's very, very questionable.
I wonder what you could try. Maybe you could try whiffing neutral.
Maybe, yeah. If like I really wanted to bait it out.
Yeah. And
I
then you might have enough time to walk up command throw or something.
mm-hmm. That
If you're
was
close enough for it to whiff, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was something I was thinking about with I don't think it comes up in like the what is this head crush? The later like the kind of prepared replay review I did. But I wonder if you get value from like just sometimes doing parry when I'm jumping at you with stuff, or like reacting to one of those early splashes with parry to get 2 and throw me away.
Maybe. Depends, right? I don't know. The biggest factor in this matchup was that I actually don't know much about Ruksoki at all, so
Mm,
I have to study it. I still haven't studied it,
right.
even after getting my ass kicked in this set. So I gotta go in there and like go to trader mode and see like what you were doing, because I don't actually know when I have to guess
Like when it's
and when I
cross up
don't.
or not, and
Yeah.
when it yeah. I've got a big pile of notes on that if you ever want it. I've got beautiful.
Yeah. That shit's good. I got it.
I think it's more lucky than anything, but it feels nice.
Then you're getting these head crushes. I'm like, God damn it, this stupid.
Uh, I was thinking about like maybe it's weird because I think jump super is really important for getting out of the corner. If like you have super and I don't, it's really. I feel like I can't do anything sometimes. Like toward the corner, I don't think I can keep you out very well, which is weird.
Oh yeah, when you're in the corner.
Like if I've got you close-ish to the corner, but I don't have super and you do, I can.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
Pretty hard.
if
Like
I'm
what are you
in
gonna do?
yeah, if I'm in the air first, maybe I can like hit you before you hit the minimum height or whatever. But maybe the answer is
Oh
for me
yeah.
to just like stay at middle distance. If you wanted to super out, I block it and punish. If you and then I just like wait for super or something so that I can actually finish the approach. But I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Think neutral jump DeGrey is pretty strong in this though.
Mm-hmm.
Like
A good throw.
then you just yeah, I mean there was no time at all. I'm like, ah fuck. But like then the mind game is like, do I neutral A? I think neutral A like beats most things, or if you try to command grab me when I'm coming down, I can like do nothing and then do BB.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's pretty strong.
I think it became pretty relevant later. I've got some notes on it whenever we get to that last replay because you're like presenting a bunch of different options, and I think like Rook has stuff he can do, but it's pretty good for DeGrey. I agree.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's this matchup seems like it's not too bad for Rook.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have enough health
Yeah.
where like you could really like get in
Hmm.
just off like one good read,
Yeah.
and then DeGrey has to like respect the tools. He doesn't have like a free way out like
Yeah.
other characters.
He well it's weird because I feel like DeGrey's range where he does stuff best is really is where Rook wants to be, right? Just
Yeah,
gets sketchy.
basically.
Yeah. So it's the like, and the other thing is DeGrey's defense against Rook seems really bad to me. Counterpoint step can be like, there's situations where it's okay, but it also has like some really meaningful downside of like the 50-50 kind of puts you in, I think, is really bad for DeGrey, where like if you guess wrong, you're probably gonna get killed. That's
Yeah,
good.
there's a,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I guess it's okay to backstep if I block your neutral A. Like
Mhm.
maybe there's enough distance where like you don't just inherently like get me,
Get
and
you.
then I can react to maybe command throw with justice kicks and get
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It'd be really helpful if the Grey could like react BB, but he can't. I tried it later. I tried it like in trade mode later
Mhm.
after the set, and I was like, oh yeah, BB's not an option.
Mhm.
I just get grabbed before it even starts up.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, there's like the weird. So if you do it really early, then you might be like far back enough, or you start it just early enough that you counter hit it or whatever.
No, I even tried doing it early, like as early as possible. It's just not
Oh,
reliable
really?
at all. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I guess in situations where you're frame advantaged, it probably works out. I know like there's some situations where B is okay, but usually C is like the reliable thing.
Yeah, there's probably some setups, but it has to be off of the Grey offense setups. It can't be defensively.
Yeah, and offense has the sketchy. There's another good example. You can neutral jump Ghost, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't
yeah,
just confirm.
yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
just fucking sucked, that's all. Yeah, maybe counterpoint stepping right after Nutroy, block Nutroy is like fine.
I think it
I'm not sure
definitely, yeah.
what actually will catch it. What
I don't. I need to
um,
check. Sometimes
doesn't
you
seem like
can
maybe nothing catches it. Maybe allowed
out
I'm
after
allowed
it.
to step, but then like afterwards, then the
Then I
guess
like
happens.
walk forward and try to like just punish whatever you pick.
Yeah, then it's the 50-50. It's like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna just kicks? Am I gonna whatever?
Yeah, yeah. Rook might be able to clap is the a thing I would look out for. Um,
Why
or
couldn't I
do
just
like
six that though?
a forward A that like, or yeah, forward A kicking the boot out so DeGrey runs back into it.
Well, I could. What? I wouldn't be able to just kick that either.
I don't know. It would depend on how far the kicks reach, because I think DeGrey has to like come forward to some point before he gets to start kicks, right? So that'd be the thing I'd have to test, I guess.
I think it's pretty decently early. He can start it.
Yeah, I think so
He does
too.
need to go before, but I don't know. We would have to see.
Yeah, I could definitely see kicks being fine against it. But if like clap counter hits DeGrey in that situation, to be very, in theory, like if Rook's looking for it, you can counter hit clap into or landslide and get 3, which is fine. I actually had a feeling as we went later in the set, is that if I've got like a big health lead, I probably shouldn't be aggressive, which is weird. But I think most of the damage I take comes from me walking forward into stuff, right, or
Yeah,
taking risk.
I guess so, huh? Maybe you could do like some more like neutral jump,
Sure.
neutral jump Ace, or like empty neutral jump, and see if I like try something, and then you can just head crush it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think this is a really good one where you like really stuck it out, and yeah, you get the 3 damage. The getting the chip out when Rogue gets knocked down with 1 is so handy, for sure. It's nothing crazy, like it works with everybody, right? But there are definitely lots of situations where it.
Yeah. I guess like Rook doesn't have too much counterplay in that
No.
regard. But yeah, I mean, then you gotta. We have no super. It's a lot easier for the trade.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So it's scary.
general thing I wanted to ask you about is like with your Oki stuff for DeGrey. I think you mostly just used like jump over ghost stuff in a lot of cases. It's not
Yeah,
like
maybe I should try doing some more Grubby Grimble stuff.
yeah, I was
Grubby
thinking
Grimble has all the tech.
you've got like after forward throw, you've got this ambiguous cross up thing DeGrey can do that's also safe against ground super. Yeah.
Oh really?
Uh-huh. You like walk forward a little bit, you jump forward, and depending on the like amount you walked, you either get cross up or not cross up, and you do the. Everybody's got this thing against Rook super where if you buffer a jump when you think your attack would hit, you'll like jump out of the super if it happens. Assuming
Oh
you did
yeah,
like a
yeah.
safe jump, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I should look at more into Oki maybe.
mm-hmm.
That's like a key thing in the matchup that I need.
Yeah, because Rook's defense is pretty bad. It looks like Jubei's got clap doesn't work unless you delay it. Landslide beats counterpoint though. It's interesting. Landslide's pretty bad, I think.
Oh yeah, landslide. That's right. But that's a pretty hard read.
Yeah. Like maybe you could go for it, but I would probably be more willing to just take the mix up in counterpoint and see if I get like a normal throw and kill you because of it.
Yeah, true. Let's see.
That was really good. That was the big bringing it back. I think it was 3 rounds to 0 with you having like 1 hit point left, all the way back.
All the way back, bitch. Clutching it.
There are some situations. Hey. There are some situations where landslide I think is a legitimate option you want to use. Sorry.
Look, that guy wants some.
Yeah, we were gonna play some at some point, but unfortunately, they've all like things haven't really lined up schedule-wise. Get this one next. So landslide's weird. It doesn't necessarily beat jump, right? Maybe it does. Like I'd have
What
to.
beat jump?
I guess Jubei's there testing it, so I trust you. Yeah. But
What beat jump?
landslide. In
Oh,
that
landslide,
situation.
yeah.
There's some characters like Lum is somehow magically, you can thunderclap and then landslide and just jumps out of it every time. It's real sad. But yeah. No.
Everyone wants to be your friend, bro.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to play some games sometime. I'll check it out later. Yeah,
So, yeah.
I think maybe it comes down to like as Rook, I favor neutral A little less, just on the whole. Like I don't go off it completely because it's still okay. Yeah, that sounds like what I thought. What was I saying? I think that maybe like Rook just leans on neutral A little less. Still use it sometimes, maybe especially if you've got like a big life lead or something. Because I think getting counterpointed, you can always be safe. You do the toe poke, you hold back, and if he did something unsafe, you punish him. If not, you're like minus, and maybe he tries to throw you or does something really risky, or maybe he backs off. But if you've got a life lead, you're fine.
Yeah, I wonder how lame you could play Rook
Yeah,
and how good it would be.
I think the answer is very against DeGrey with like I think what makes BA really strong, Rebecca, is it's oh this is good. Guess that big counter hit.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to jump when you don't have super.
You're right. So
Or
I
stay
like
on the ground.
the idea is that I jump and I do it. If I do my jump A early, then I shouldn't get counter hit. I think there I might have had it been a little delayed. It's still
Wait,
a
back
bad idea.
there?
Yeah.
Back there, did I counter step after your clap? Is that what I did?
Let's see.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. And that was me pressing, I think, normal throw or
So,
something.
so probably the only thing you could have done was like either call out with landslide or just block.
Yeah, I think landslide's probably a lot better in that situation where you're getting the thunderclap canceled, because that should catch jump, and that should it catches jumping, catches counterpoint. It loses to like block and presumably Yomi if the opponent's paying attention. But
Yeah. Oh, see, there was that one where I parried after jumping, didn't work.
yeah, like almost every jump in, like there's some of the sketchier knockdowns where I might just not have the right timing on it, but it's really, parry's really weak in Wake Up, I think. Like maybe it wins something sometimes, but it's so much stronger with the like in the post Wake Up mix-ups. In Wake Up, I think it loses to the safe jump splash and loses to any of the throws if I do like a not safe jump. So it's only winning cases when Rook makes some kind of mistake, which is still possible. But oh, by the way, with those 4 days into GC, I think. So I know that the startup of counterpoint step is also throw immune, right?
Yeah.
So
the startup of it is strike immune and throw immune. It's pretty crazy good.
So when you do the 4-day into ground C, if the 4-day hits, it's pretty early, I think. I don't know. There's a timing where you can cancel into ground B and be totally fine. It has to do with I think a mix of spacing and timing, because like if you're immune as you're moving backward and then you're out of range, you're fine. Or if you hit early in the 4-day and you have lots of active frames left where you're throw invincible, you can GB back. It'd be worth looking into maybe, like what kind of situations you get away with it.
I don't know if it's gonna beat your command throw ever.
I know that you can do
I
like
think it's too active.
meaty setups on it. I don't think this is the one we just watched. We'll see.
I don't know. It's all blur, bro.
Yeah. Yep. Purple shirt's confirming. Yeah, it can beat the command throw. It's just
It can, huh?
Yeah, just a case of like identifying what situations you get it in. I think. That's a bad vines.
Yeah, there's definitely some things I could learn that could probably make this matchup a lot harder for you.
Yeah, I think there's stuff like, I think that the core of it that is really hard is probably the neutral walk down is probably the sketchiest thing. Like you getting more value off of advantage states means you just convert more though, right? You get a winning position and you just don't have to worry about it.
Does get hard here though. I think I'm pretty fucked here.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about it a little earlier too, purple shirt, but yeah, the counterpoint is one of those where it's not total disaster every time for DeGrey, but it's usually pretty bad. And with Rook GS ground super, he might be able to. I don't know. Yay.
I wonder how far I can push the neutral mind game. Like I wonder how effective I could just like in this neutral position, I could just walk up to you and just start fucking AAing you. It's like fuck you. I wonder how far I can push that. I'll try it next time.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think that
I was too afraid. I was too afraid a lot of times, but like you wouldn't touch anything.
Yeah.
Because the mind game is I walk up and start being aggressive, even though I never really do it here. But and then it's like, okay, if you know I'm gonna do that, I'm just gonna time command throw to catch you walking up to me. But then
you jump.
But then there's the thing is I do the jump BB and get a knockdown.
Yeah, it might work out. One of the things that can be tricky is that I think if you're walking too close, Rook's normal throw really it can catch like the startup of forward A too. So like depending on where you're spacing it, where you're jumping from, is gonna be like the critical thing, I think.
And I guess then a bigger question is, off of jump BB, I wonder if DeGrey has anything like insanely disgusting setups against Rook. And that'll be if he does, then it might be there might be like a real bad situation. Like it might be more DeGrey favored if he does have some disgusting situations off of BB. Like say
Yeah.
like that just beats like he has like setups that just beats throws and or
Mhm.
your super and stuff.
Yeah.
If
So
he
we
does,
we
then
we
that's pretty
did
bad for Rook.
some labbing on it with a bunch of characters a little while back because like Ghost into Jump BB is usually the kind of like optimal setup, right?
Yeah.
And there's with that cross up Oki, you can cross up Jump forward A, and then you get neutral A, Ghost, Jump BB. And on some characters that actually loops, like the position it leaves you at lets you do the cross up again or threaten it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that works that way for Rook. I think the like Jump BB knockdown probably gives you a safe jump, or at least lets you do like a forward A that's safe against ground super because you can cancel it into ground B. So you get some
Gotcha.
kind of mix there, but
So does he get a setup where like okay Alpha BB does he get a setup where it can counter hit your command throw, safe jump to super, so you're just forced to like take
yeah.
the bishop.
So any meaty that's also super safe, like safe against the ground super, is great versus Rook. His wake up's actually pretty bad. So you can threaten either like a meaty forward A to beat ground super and it'll counter hit GC and everything else, or you can you can what is it? You get the like a safe jump timing thing and buffer a jump to dodge the super, and it beats like ground C, and getting a counter hit is always great for DeGrey.
So yeah, there's probably some options to like setup you could do, huh?
Yeah, that's the kind of idea.
Even even just like if you could have like Ghost and just having the 50-50 like setup where like oh, am I gonna jump in and do the setup or am I gonna jump in, bait out, and then Ghost and then it beats all the options on wake up. Dex
Sure.
also seems pretty strong.
Yeah, I'm usually not a big fan of the. Why did I? It's like throwing away super. When
Just trying it out. Maybe
yeah.
get a whiff, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. It lowers Rook's hitbox, but not in a way that's really meaningful. And like losing super, we know, very sad
Yeah.
for Rook.
Yeah, I guess there's no point in doing that. If the Gray sees that, he should just like mash B so he gets the
Justice
second
kicks.
one.
Yeah, and
Because
in
I
that,
guess there is a situation where like maybe I'll have my first just kicks whiff, but it looks like it wouldn't, and then
yeah,
I land on the ground and just get command thrown.
yeah. I
But
think that actually happened at least once or something. Maybe I'm thinking of a different set with a DeGrey, but like, yeah, getting if you whiff a Justice kicks and you land right in front of me, it's like a free throw. It's always nice. A basketball free throw, same thing.
same shit, bro.
Okay. I think last one is this one here. So I've got a bunch of notes. I'll pause it at different points to talk about certain things in that moment or whatever. And if you ever want to pause it, let me know too, and I'll pause it. We can back up talk the over stuff.
Okay, let's do it.
Yep. Okay. Gonna see if I can have my notes here on the side. So round one has some round start pokes from you. It'd probably be good to.
So I think at this I'm like, okay, back A works a bit, so I'm starting back A, and then you don't have no super, so I'm gonna do forward A as well. See if
Yeah.
I get some damage.
And you do these crazy
Yeah, if you
neutral
pause it,
A's. Yeah.
does neutralize? What am I hitting exactly? What did I counter
You
hit?
counter hit normal throw
Interesting.
because so normally ground C is kind of the way to go with like stopping a lot of the things you want to do at closest range, but if you're like moving in real close with forward A and stuff, then throw has a lot less startup, and I feel like a lot better about catching things with it in general. Definitely has risk to be more vulnerable though.
Yeah, this is why I was saying like I wonder how much I could push going out into range where I could just start my AA kind of like aggression,
Mm-hmm.
and how effective it would be. Like
Yeah.
I want to try pushing that next time.
Mm-hmm.
See what I could do.
Yeah, definitely the big scary thing is like staggered pressure versus ground C ends up being really really sketchy. Your payoffs for like calling it out are pretty good. It's just a matter of like figuring out if on average like your reward is enough to justify the risk, I think. How bad is getting thrown by GC? What are you getting in the call outs? How often do you call it out? All that.
I wonder if there's a timing where I can, uh, like, AA stagger to counter hit. I can counter hit your command throw, right, on startup.
You can. There's one frame. So if you
Oh,
have,
okay. So hard. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Gotcha.
if you've got consistent like frame timing, then that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I put it in a spot where I didn't feel like it was feasible for me whenever I played DeGrey. I think Grubby's gone for it more to see push
Gotcha.
it, but
So if I get like the first A, I wonder how much the mind game really is. Like, are you gonna have to like tick for are you just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna go for the throw command throw now after blocking the first forward, I mean the first neutral A, and then like I can like mind game, am I gonna throw out the second neutral A, or am I gonna do nothing
and
or
jump
neutral jump
I think
or
is
jump
the
back
way.
and then see what you do and then do
Yeah.
BB? I wonder how far you can push that mind game.
Yeah, I think that'd be the way to go if you wanted to get it. I think like ground C is probably like on average something like 3 damage versus DeGrey. It's not so good of a knockdown, but if the variance is really high, is where I think the scariness comes from. But if you poke and you call out the GC, you can get your jump BB knocked down. And like if you start getting good rewards off of that, I think it gets to be worth it probably.
Yeah, because the point is like the gray in this matchup for it to be easier is that the reason why it's so much harder, like say like if I play Grave versus Rook, and the reason why it's so much harder for Rook is because Rook is kind of forced to make decisions. Where like in this matchup, it feels like you're not really forced to a lot more. You're forced to a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
So if like the gray can like force you to make like more decisions, like you do more mistakes, you know,
Yeah. Well,
and then
like
like the gray gets more damage
yeah,
in the
Graves
long run.
got a projectile that forces Rook to do stuff, and he's also got a super that is like a catch-all answer if you see Rook jump. I think are a couple
Yeah,
things that really stand out. That and his anti is pretty good with neutral jump or neutral A.
it just isn't. It doesn't feel like enough just because once I
Right.
use ghosts, it's off cooldown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and then if you don't make it this, if you really don't make a decision, like maybe you just block the ghost, then you get a lot of ground.
Mm-hmm.
If you have super, I can't just react to your jump. I have to wait until you do something first.
Yeah. Try to react, or you could read it. But if you don't have super, it feels really bad because the escape out of the corner is gonna be like really really hard then, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like Rook has a lot of mileage, just like kind of like doing nothing and just waiting. He doesn't have to really make
Walking. Yeah.
insane decisions. A
We
lot
we
of the
should
time, it gets a lot of
also
ground.
we should also run the Rook Grave matchup sometime though. I think it'd be quite
Oh
nice to
yeah,
get that in.
we could try that.
Okay,
Sounds good.
cool. So yeah, we're talking about ground pokes and things that DeGrey can do. Like back A has the reach that the other stuff doesn't, and it's really safe in that way. But these other
Yeah,
kind of pokes, like they can work. There's just the risk of how they move DeGrey forward and kind of commit him to more stuff. But in this case, they work real well.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And the back gate doesn't feel like enough, but it might give you access. It might give the gray access to more cheeky stuff, like just walking straight up to Rook and like doing stuff.
yeah, little
Because
walk
Rook
up
is Rook
throws.
is looking for like a back air, right? And it's a little risky to like just like throw stuff because you can get counter hit. Of
Mm-hmm.
course the counter is jumping,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we'll
but
have
yeah, back air,
some.
the back air pressure might unlock the route for the gray just to walk up to Rook and do stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think there's gonna be a couple spots we'll pause and probably talk about it in more detail because there's some good examples of like back A working really well to keep Rook out, and then other spots where like Rook gets the right prediction call out, and you kind of see
Yeah.
the downside too. So I don't have any other notes for this round. It gets beat up pretty good. There's a nice thing here where DeGrey reacts to Rook's jump in with Ghost, I think, is the way it works out. Not that Rook was doing something in particular, but I jump here.
Oh, like here, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good strat. I mean, that's a good strat for DeGrey in general, where like people, a lot of DeGreys don't use Ghosts that effectively, and I think the most effective way to use DeGrey Ghosts is like by trading. So you hold it. Izzy Flow is starting to do it like this too. I was playing a set with him before TPK.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm really impressed with your Ghost usage, like, because that is, I think that's the correct thing. Like, you wanna wait until the opponent is doing something offensively, and then use Ghost in that way, where like it trades or just beats out their option cleanly, and then you just get 2 damage off of their maybe 1 or even 0.
Yep. And I think so. The interesting thing here, though, is like Rook, if he empty jumps, I think there's, depending on the position of Ghost and DeGrey, there's room for him to do a Vines. Here, there is no chance. I did the forward jump A, got grabbed. But I think for Rook in particular, if you're playing him, it's worth keeping in mind that if you don't commit to stuff, you get to keep open the Vines idea, and you end up with like maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like 11 frames of startup, and then there's a few more frames before a Ghost reaches you. So it's not going to be a free reaction by any stretch. But if you've got confidence in your ability to take cues and work with them, then I think training yourself to recognize the startup of Ghost, so in the situations where it's like an 18 frame reaction or something, you just get the jump B every time. That seems pretty strong. Maybe even like jumping
So
in
you think
spacings to...
you think Vines is, you're able to react Vines to this potentially?
Yeah, because Vines is a projectile immune frame 1, and I think in
Oh,
a position
gotcha.
like this, Ghost is kind of close to DeGrey anyway, and it'd be pretty sketchy, but I think in like a neutral situation where Ghost is a little behind DeGrey, if you jump like this and DeGrey Ghosts, then you probably have somewhere in the range of 17 or 18 frames reaction, would be my guess.
Very doable then.
Yeah.
If Vines is immune on frame 1, then yeah, doable.
So the thing about Vines too, for Damien, doesn't matter so much about Vines dropping, because DeGrey is pretty vulnerable. So if you're close enough, then before he recovers, you get it. There's like spacings where he gets to recover in time. Like if you're pretty high up, it'll stall Rook out at a range where he doesn't hit DeGrey, and then it just doesn't work at all. But there are definitely positions where doing Vines on reaction does get you a knockdown, and you don't get grabbed by Ghost, and you might not get like a jump in sort of setup, but you at least get like Thunderclap or meaty neutral A Oki, which is pretty good. So, like, it's something that I don't have trained for myself yet, so I can't like make any claims that it's going to be like a bomb in the matchup or it's going to be really good, but I think that it's definitely possible and probably something that Rook wants to try and leverage.
Oh, we'll run it next time. We'll see.
Yeah. I'll have to work on it. We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I thought about after this that I want to try out. Those either I didn't think about it or I was just too afraid to do, and then I was like, well, I probably should have been afraid to do it.
Yeah, I gotta push the limit some.
Yeah.
So this round, I think at the start, is a really good example of the DeGrey back A keeping Rook out. And this is the kind of thing where
look how far you are.
Yeah. So it's spaced really, really well, and I think the really critical thing is the range that you use back A at is not where Rook's exactly in range, but the idea is that if Rook walks forward, he gets tagged by it.
Yeah.
Because back A startup is fast enough that it is properly unreactable, I think. You can do predictions and stuff.
Yeah, it's just big reward prediction. Am I going to do it? Or you can jump in at a good time where you get potentially a knockdown or 3 damage or something. Whatever.
Yeah. It's like a projectile. The way that you think about a cloud or an arrow or something is that it's something you do on prediction, and it has some chance of upside. It gives them an option to get around it. But like this kind of spacing is the way you want to use it, I think, where if Rook's being defensive, maybe he doesn't get hit, but by by positioning it like this, you do it predictably in like the safest way possible. Where I think I can't grab this with GC, even if I predicted
Yeah,
that you were
that's
gonna
far
go
out
for it, right?
space. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure back A is pretty safe to everything but a predicted jump in.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Landslide actually beats it too, but
Oh
Landslide's
yeah,
risky for other
true, true, true,
reasons.
true, true, true.
I don't think
Makes
it
sense.
comes up in this set, but Landslide is really solid against like both forward A and back A. It's also just really, really bad for like versus Ghost or
if
if
you
DeGrey
start
blocks it.
if you started doing landslide and it hits my back A, I've been like, all right, I'm fucked up, whatever.
I've
Whatever.
definitely thought about it, but it's hard because the ideal spacing for Landslide is definitely the one where the first hit's gonna connect somehow, and that is honestly really close to this back A range. So
Yeah.
all right, we've got this. Back A is really good. And next thing, I think we'll see some more examples here. You keep there. There's another
Oh
great
yeah,
one.
I threw a whiff throw right to try to bait someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this head crush at 52 seconds. This is an interesting one, I think. We saw it at some point during those previous ones, but in case anybody came in later or you didn't get a chance to see it, Rook's head crush beats an anti-air forward A from DeGrey, and it's really important because I think forward A is, especially against Rook's jump in, is like one of the really high payoffs for DeGrey, right?
Yeah, for sure. You get 3 damage, and Rook is like all the way back into the full screen, and it's like, all right, make your way to me again. Time for you to work for it again.
Yeah, it's really,
Yeah.
really strong. So Rook's jump super beats the DeGrey forward A in general if you time it correctly. The problem is it's a prediction is the way to think of it. I don't think it's reasonable to like push yourself or think that you can push yourself to react to it. I think we mentioned if the forward A is done pretty early, then I think there might be some room because it's gonna like effectively hit Rook late in the active frames. You might get something, but it's you gotta guess. The
Though
this
the
oh yeah, go ahead.
when you whiff head crush, there isn't that huge of a downside, like
Like the punish wise, you don't.
especially where for like especially for DeGrey, like DeGrey is
Mhm.
like what he's just gonna get back A 1 damage.
Yeah.
So if you start doing like head crushes, like if you have head crush or super like kind of early,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like it's worth like just
Just
going for it,
y-
because then you'll have like 2 or 3 supers to work with the whole match,
mm-hmm.
because you have enough health to like go for it. So
Yeah, I think so too. And so it's like it's nice because you get back to building super meter, and it's good to use jump super to discourage DeGrey from doing forward A, because
yeah,
Rook gets huge mileage out of even forcing a block. This is always important. Rook's like plus 15 or whatever. He's threatening all 3 options: strike, throw, and command grab every time he forces a blocked splash. So just getting someone to block is super duper duper valuable, and the way you unlock that against someone like DeGrey is you make them not want to take the risk of anti-air. In this situation, jump super ends up being okay. Like I said, I didn't, in this case, I didn't even get tagged by back A like I recover in time to block Ghost, which you did to catch the jump in. But I think that
yeah. I think the only thing DeGrey has that actually punishes this is back
back
A,
A,
and then and that's very space independent too.
yeah, and timing too. Like it's a little weird if Rook's a little off the ground, you have to delay it a little bit to make it catch. I think with the cutscene and everything, it's hard.
I wonder if DeGrey can get mileage from, if you like say you whiff head crush.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much. Well, it seems hard just because your head is still active. But I wonder how much mileage DeGrey can get by just walking up to you and AA and afterwards and forcing you to
It's
block. Like how much space does
yeah,
DeGrey obtain from doing that?
it's hard. I don't know. Like yeah, the head's pretty active.
Yeah, it
And
seems pretty hard.
but might be worth exploring. Like being
But
able
I
to get
wonder
some
like
threat.
if there's a timing where like, well, I wonder how much counterplay you get. Like, can I counter hit a lot of things you try to do off after landing? Like, say your
Yeah.
throw. Can I counter your throw, your command
Yeah.
grab, and then like maybe the only thing counterplay is like landsliding or something.
Sure. Yeah. It might be possible. Even landslide, like if I'm effectively minus, which is sort of what happens after a head crush, I'm coming down and I've got landing lag. Um, like
Yeah, because
landslide in
Ghost
that
does not
position, you
seem
just
good
poke
here.
him out of it too, right? In this situation, I'm fine because I recover in time for Ghost. But one thing I wanted to mention though, that I think this jump super is actually really bad. We were talking about why like jump super isn't super low risk or super high risk for Rook.
Hmm.
However, in this situation, I burned meter and you've got it still.
Yeah,
So
that I guess that is pretty big
like
downside actually.
in the corner especially, I think is that I don't have a way anymore to stop you from jump supering out basically. And we talked about this a little before too, but I think it's a situation where I can't. If you're passive, maybe I get to like jump in on you and threaten something, and I get a little pressure. But I
Hmm.
think more likely you just get to jump super out, and I have to play passive. So I think there's something to think about with like as Rook doing the prediction jump head crush toward mid screen is probably more fine because DeGrey,
Yeah.
yeah, he can jump super or whatever, but it's not you're not losing progress in the same way that you do like this spot. I've
Hmm.
I've removed my way to keep you in check, and that's sketchy.
So it's just better to hold, and then you get like more access to just keep jumping in
Yeah.
around here, and then
Hmm.
if I try anything, you just react head crush.
Yeah, that's the idea. Now the thing
Into it.
is like for DeGrey, I think it means that you actually turn around and get more incentivized to forward A when you're closer to the corner, because Rook wants to jump super less. So
Yeah.
you like play that percentages game with each other, and you're trying to guess how they're gonna favor it. But like giving up head crush here is basically losing the corner. At this point, I probably need to back off. I don't think I recognize any of the stuff in the moment about what the
Though this
weaknesses are.
spacing is still good. Like
Oh.
the gray. I mean, this spacing in general right here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like 4-day is still a big threat here.
Mm-hmm.
4-day is still a big threat, and if 4-day hits, you can lose your whole
Yeah.
corner here
Yeah.
as well. So it's not like a really bad head crush at all. Like you really 4-day is still a threat here, and you
Mm-hmm.
lose all your ground if 4-day hits.
Yeah. So it's like it's a I think it's interesting that as you approach the corner here, like it definitely really gets high pressure for Rook to make the right call on what DeGrey is going to do to try and get out. So I think in this case it actually works out okay for Rook. Um,
Yeah.
because like you're not going for the jump super right away. Get good back A's. 1 second. At what was it at 46 seconds? So we just passed it. I think this is a good example. I got to pull.
I should have fucking bailed here with the fucking
Yeah,
super.
yeah. I think I end up winning the round because of it or something silly. But
Yeah.
this timing, so you get me with a bunch of back A's, which is good. So at this spot though, we get a predictive jump forward that is an example. It's not the ideal one, but this is the kind of thing Rook's looking for whenever he jumps forward at DeGrey. Look how big his hand is.
I know, what the fuck?
Can't be healthy. Uh, so this jump, it's important because Rook doesn't get to hit degrade directly. Like you're recovered in time that if I did a splash, I don't in this situation. Oh, I do. You could have blocked. In this case, you're able to walk out of it, so it just whiffs entirely. But even though it didn't connect, what matters here is that Rook. I finally reached the spacing where like throw is a real threat. So whether it happens at the corner or at mid screen or whatever, this is the spot Rook wants to reach and be in. So whenever you're seeing like random
Did you know that was gonna whiff at that spacing?
I think I knew it was a possibility. It's one of those where it's like really sketchy. The
Maybe you
ones
should
that hit
maybe you
are
should option select. Cause I do
mm,
that too. Like I don't know if people know this,
like
but
you hit
it,
throw in case you don't do anything.
yeah, but I don't know if people know this thing specifically,
Sure.
but you know that you can make in this game you can make a throw jump plus A if you press at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
that's like in the button config you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you press, so that's how I used to throw because I'm used to throwing like that in other fighting games.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's usually like
It's your
a
like punch
short
light
push
kick
jab.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it usually is. Um, so if you press it in the air, you will get your jump A, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can option select like, throw. So like, I'll do this with Grave. Like if I jump in and you see my neutral
Mm-hmm.
while I'm coming in, I usually press throw so that my throw will come out if it whiffs on frame
Yeah.
one.
Yep. And I think you don't necessarily even have to use the macro for it in this case. The way that this game's buffer works is it holds on to inputs for super duper long. So if
Oh, with
I
buffer, okay.
yeah, so if I did like throw here when I'm not sure if it's gonna hit or not or whatever, if I hit, there's hit stop and the throw input is discarded from the buffer, and I can confirm I hit, and then I forward AU for 3 or whatever.
Okay.
Um,
So
and
yeah,
if
the
I,
same
yeah,
same
it's the
kind
same
of thing.
idea. If I did hit throw, then I land within 8 frames, so I get it the first possible frame, which is like right here.
Yeah,
Which,
that would have been like
in this
super good
case,
here.
yeah, would have caught the jump out for sure.
Yeah, because here I'm not like there's a lot of situations where people are not going to be sure if it's going to hit or not.
Hmm.
And if you can like, I don't know, isn't it just worth doing those option selects in those situations at all times?
Yeah, there's some situations where like if your opponent knows that you just use it all the time, there's maybe some downside if they can like super mind game you into just yomiing because they know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
But like any spot where the spacing is ambiguous like this, I think is you're right. It's a really good time to option select the throw.
maybe it's better for Rook to option select command throw somehow.
Maybe it's got a lot of startup time, so he maybe gets like value off of it, but
I mean, it beats Yomi block, right? So
it does, yeah. If you know they're going for it, it's true. Um, okay,
seems like
so
it has less downside than regular throw.
yeah. I think at 40 seconds here, we're gonna see a good example of a bad jump. We'll see what we get. So block this, get a knockdown. That's fun. Good
Okay,
Yomi.
I read out. Yeah.
Yep. So in this situation, this jump is just like the previous one that we said is like a good jump. It's Rook jumping, trying to
This is probably
predict.
checkmate, isn't it?
I think this is the one where you jump up and jump super me.
Yeah, you have no super,
Mhm.
and this is basically just checkmate at this point. Like you're not
Yeah.
allowed to jump here.
Yep. So this is a like this is this kind of jump is correct for Rook when you want to like maybe the spacing's a little sketchy because I'm pretty far away, but it's also near the edge of that back A range. But this is like the kind of spacing where I want to punish your back A. That said,
Yeah.
what this is really significant for is like this is the risk of jumping without meter, is you get free jump super, and you get your chip out on landing
Yeah.
too. So like you said, yeah, it's checkmate because I jumped and because you didn't commit. I maybe wasn't thinking about it in the moment, but I did bet the entire round on this jump catching a back A or like a weird forward.
Yeah, you didn't have to make this bet until like later
Yeah.
because you were already close to super.
Yeah, looking at that.
Yeah, two health,
So
you're fine.
it's really interesting too. It keeps ticking up here. Like I'm a second off of getting the super basically. Like if I had decided to wait just a little bit more, been more mindful of my own meter, then that jump suddenly becomes a lot safer and better. So yeah, very good example of like jumping with meter, jumping without meter. And being conscious of your life total and things too. Maybe it's not so bad if I've got 3 health because it's not a straight chip out or whatever. But yeah, in this case, it had some upside, but the risk was very, very bad.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yep. So yeah, and I think that that's the end of the round. We can play through it. The next one, nothing super important at round start, but about 56 seconds, we're going to see a jump forward, the sort of counterpoint to what we just saw a minute ago. So, in this case...
Yeah, like here.
Yeah. This is the ideal situation for Rook because I got the call out on the back A, and it hit directly, which means free damage for Rook. This particular position for Rook, you can kind of... I use the hit spark position to kind of judge whether I can combo or not. DeGrey is one of the thin hurtbox characters, so this is probably not
Can you not
not a
guarantee
neutral A.
like? I was gonna ask like I wonder if you can guarantee a thunderclap kind of combo.
You can't. So Thunderclap startup means you need a counter hit for it to
Oh
combo.
really? It's that
Yeah,
bad?
Yeah, it's right on the edge. So if you get a counter hit, you get Thunderclap. In this situation, because you were kind of crouched down, maybe I actually get a neutral A, but it's sketchy. Against some of the thinner characters, you want to. It's safer to cash out with a forward A, and just get what you can.
I guess this spacing it's fine to do forward A because I'm right in the corner, like whatever.
Yeah,
just
we're
take
not
advantage. We're in the same
resetting too
situation
far.
regardless.
Yeah, and Rook still got super. So I think the couple things I
Yeah.
wanted to highlight is like, in this one, this worked out pretty well for Rook. But I think it's also worth noting that like the predictive jump was covered by jump super. DeGrey didn't have super, so even though they're both jumps made at predictive times, like it's really important to note the difference between the two. Like this jump was very, very low, well, much lower risk. The previous one, round losing. So even though they're very similar, outcomes are very different.
Yep. Pretty good jump.
No, we got somebody who wants to be famous. How do I ban people?
Mod them.
Ban them. A mod person. Okay.
Oh wait, no. Wait. Oh, I thought. Okay, I see. But I was looking at the chat, like, cause I have it in the background, and I just saw, Dante like kind of have like a little paragraph that looks exactly like the same length as I want to be famous. Like, no, it's Dante memeing. Don't do
Dante
it.
memeing. Yeah.
No, you
That's
got
funny.
it.
Don't
I
worry.
actually have. I think I have 2 mods that are just bots in my chat. In my stream, where it's like, want to be
Yeah.
famous? Click
Yeah,
here.
everybody needs to know. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. So this one, it's important to be sensitive, I think, with Rook to when you can get neutral A and when you can't. The list of characters that are like have wider stances or wider hurt boxes. It's most of them. I think Argagarg, DeGrey, Valerie's a weird one. She's probably the one that's most on the divide between the two. Geiger. I think those are the 4. Sets actually has a really wide stance. So despite her being pretty small, she actually gets tagged by the neutral A more.
Oh, interesting.
I've got a list in the Oki guide based off of like stuff.
What's her stance like when she's moving around? Well, it's probably more her walk speed than her actual hurt box, but
Yeah.
does she get thinner when she walks?
I don't know. There are definitely some weird things like this in this game too, like characters who get thinner when they're knocked down. Yeah, I'll have to pull it up maybe a little later, but I've got in the Oki guide. It's still in progress, but I'm actually writing down how to do the different safe jump setups because that seems like a handy thing to have. And who are the ones? So it's based off of when you do like the not cross up safe jump. Yeah, you get micro walk neutral A on Setsuki. It's Geiger, Arg, Val, and DeGrey that you don't get it on.
I see.
Mm-hmm. Oops. All right. So anyway. So yeah, this was fine jump in. It was covered well, which is important to note. And but because it's DeGrey, take the forward A. Other characters you can get the knockdown and really start the mix.
Yeah.
Okay. Hit play. Next thing, I've got a DeGrey jump at 50 seconds, and this is gonna be the thing we talked about before.
Why'd you let me out here?
Actually, this is important. I've got, what happened at 50 seconds? All right, we already passed it. So I did let you out. I'll let you out, tell you about it in a second. But at 50-ish seconds, when we're kind of close and you do a neutral jump, I don't know if this is actually the best example. Maybe this one? Yeah. So we talked about this before, but when DeGrey jumps neutral, you've got like at least three options of kind of what you can do in these spots. When you neutral jump, you can do neutral jump A early to like whack Rook out of the air. You can also wait and and do other options. So what Rook wants to do is, if I think you're going to try and anti-air me, I want to ground seat you, just catch the landing. It's fine.
Yeah, but you can empty jump BB,
Yeah, so the
ghost,
yeah,
whatever.
jump BB and jump C both beat the command grab. So I think the way to look at it is if Rook did like a predictive jump and we're both in the air and we're at close range, it should be a pretty free jump super. In this case, like jump super would have been fine, but I was committing to like the first frame for jump A. But I think that the like sort of dynamic to think about as Rook is if DeGrey is going to neutral jump and you're going to pick some option, you can go for GC, but you can also do a jump B is probably one of your stronger options as like the alternative. Jump A is like a frame faster, and I think it starts. I don't know. The hitbox is probably more favorable against jump B or something like that, but or DeGrey's jump B. But Vines is good because it definitely beats Ghost. It gets a knockdown, and at that kind of height, you get like a safe jump proper on DeGrey.
I gotcha.
So I think the like idea here is if you predictive jump and DeGrey's also in the air, then you can cash out on jump super. Or you can try and fight him air to air and hope he wasn't going for that jump A right away. If you can get him to do jump A right away enough times, then you get the actual value from staying grounded. But yeah, Rook's stuff he can do on the ground is limited by the jump BB and the jump C. Jump BB is a lot more committal for DeGrey because I think getting it to actually be safe is pretty hard, and you have to do it pretty late, right?
It has to be pretty low. Rogue Yoshi actually like showed me that he was playing with the DeGrey matchup, and his safe jumps were, or his pressure was like, say he gets a knockdown, right, and then he would do neutral jump into late ground B, where kind of like he's already like close to hitting the ground already, but like
he ends up like
it's
very
ground
plus.
B. Yeah, it's like plus like 9 or more. It's like really good. And it's like a weird timing too, so it kind of like mixes you up a little bit.
People, you think like, oh, is he doing like an empty jump throw or something? And
yeah. So it seems pretty good to me.
So the thing for Rook is like if DeGrey wants to either do like a jump C to feel safe or like a late jump B to be safe on block, then he definitely leaves himself open to Vines at like any height. So that's kind of what you're guessing around. Getting counter hit out of Vines because he did jump A is a little rough. But it's definitely not the end of the world. That's one of those things where Rook can kind of eat the damage, live with it.
Yeah, I guess like it depends on the state of the round, right? Like if you have this much health, like it's worth taking those. It's worth taking those like hard reads.
Yeah,
it's just too big of a payoff, and like
the risk
I don't think as much downside, at all.
If your jump A counter hit turns into you like getting some scary Oki stuff and getting more advantage, then it might be one of those things where you really have to be very sparing with things like Vines. But I don't know. It's something that we'll have to maybe keep an eye on if we,
especially with characters with non-reversals like DeGrey.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's a little different. Like say like when we run the Grave matchup, when I have like reversals that legit beat every option except block and stuff like that. Like maybe it's different, but
right.
But yeah, it's a lot of upside versus people like DeGrey.
Yeah, and Purple Shirt makes a good point that if you get like counter hit neutral A, but you don't take the follow up NA and you instead just opt for ideal Oki or something, maybe you can really threaten like the ambiguous 4 damage cross up or something. Because like I think
with DeGrey,
like not taking the bonus 1 damage and
I also think I don't think I put my DeGrey is very very like just basic,
very fundamentally
basic,
not trying to like really push the Oki yet.
Yeah, like my DeGrey is pretty lackluster. There's a lot I could push and learn still with the characters that I need to like go in and do.
Makes sense. And like and the fundamental stuff is nice and clean, but you can even look for other spots for more advantage.
Yeah. So I definitely, well, at least for Anime Evo, like I plan on have my DeGrey have a lot more stuff. So
yeah, that'll be good. So the thing that you asked here before we even got started on this train is you asked I guess we'll
Why'd you let me out, right?
yeah, why did I let you
Yeah.
out? So this is me looking at our life totals, especially after I get the 1 damage tag here. I'm at 8 and you're at 2. And so I decided that it wasn't worth playing risky stuff. And I don't mind you really getting out of the corner because I don't think you can. We're only at like 50 seconds, but I think I can just turtle you out for the rest of the time, was my impression.
Gotcha.
Because I think the way I sort of noted it down is I think, especially the way that you've been doing damage, a lot comes from the back A poke or from like jumping in neutral and punishing me doing guesses to try and punish you. But the back A poke, that like good spacing, it depends on Rook walking forward into it. Not
Yeah, basically, yeah.
because that's the spacing that makes it safe. So if I'm backing up slightly instead of walking forward slightly, all of a sudden I think that back A gets like super weakened.
Yeah.
And I think
You're just not gonna run into it. I'm gonna have to go up to you and like
take risk
make
of some kind.
big risks. Yeah.
So that's something I was thinking about, that maybe this is something to look at for DeGrey, is like if you can get really comfortable with your options as like offensive stuff. It's not like this is a situation you want to be in, but I felt like it was going to be very hard for you to win it, and I felt like I could like neutral jump A and neutral jump empty sometimes to
Yeah,
just
this is
hold
definitely a
jump
strong
super.
strategy. Yeah, that's definitely strong.
And I'm giving up a little space, but sometimes I want to walk forward just a little bit to make you feel like you got to back up.
Yeah, Tharden. Yeah, Tharden.
Yeah.
True.
So I've burned like 25 seconds already, and I get a blocked jump forward A because you commit, like, you had to commit to a thing. Maybe you get like a parry there. Maybe there's opportunity, right?
Yeah,
Something.
probably.
But like in that situation,
I think I was afraid of just using parry in general just because it failed, I think, like twice off jump in. And I was like,
yeah.
it's not worth it.
And wake up, it's really bad for sure. Neutral might have more spots for it. But yeah, so the rest of the round is like it's like an inversion of the normal neutral stuff where like you've got to push forward more to do stuff, and in that specific situation got the block, and that leads to the ending mix.
Yeah.
All right, so round 4. I think there's a little. Just read what Grubby was saying. Making fun of turtley grapplers, huh? I'll show you.
It's pretty strong. Depending on the character.
It's good
It's pretty
against. I think the thing you evaluate is how much chip and pressure they put on you from a distance. And DeGrey's
Yeah.
pretty significant in that he doesn't do so much. So like if Rook's not jumping, it's hard for DeGrey to create situations where he does more than 1 damage at a time. And even those 1 damage pokes are kind of hard to land, or they become a lot more risky if I'm not advancing. So like
Yeah.
Grave will be happy if I backed off when you're at low health, because I think you get like wind charge time and you've got opportunities to chip and get incidental damage, and you charge super again, and as soon as you have ground super, it gets harder for me too. So even when I've got high health, I don't think I get to afford to do that against like Grave or whatever.
Yeah, I think Grave is just seems like he gets a lot of like strong matchups just because incidentally because of his ground C being like
Yeah.
high like startup, it's just like somehow it just inherently has like this timing where it hits where like it just beats things clean that has armor or where it's just like a weird like coincidental thing I think with Graves. Like his ground C reversal just has the perfect timing to just beat a lot of things. But yeah, we'll figure that out when we actually run the set.
Yeah. It'll be good. I played some folks I like their Graves, but I haven't gotten much chance to play like good connections at the same time. So I'm hoping
Gotcha.
that we get to push it. There's some stuff that like the final bit of walk down it feels very sketchy if things are getting startup shaved off of them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Going into this round, got a little thing I want to mention at 56 seconds. Nothing crazy, but this is back into walk down mode. Get poked.
Oh, whoops.
There's
Oh.
the magical whiffed throw. It
Oh
makes
yeah,
me
yeah.
laugh.
I was just trying to make you tick, cause you have to. It has to be fast, like for you
Yeah.
to. There's a lot of things where like, I feel like whiff throw is pretty inefficient, but
Hmm.
there are some things where you can just do it, like because you just have to like tick. Like if it's like something that's like okay, you have to like any sudden movement, you have to react
Hmm.
for it to work. Like maybe throw works.
Yeah.
Because people try to do it to me because they're like,
Well,
oh, he reacts to everything,
well, it depends.
but it usually doesn't work.
Yeah, the key is if you're reacting to something and you've got a good visual cue, then
Hmm.
throw stops being useful right away. Like a really solid example is Oni's forward A and ground B are both reactable and neutral. Um,
Hmm.
and like very significantly, forward A is a little faster to start up, but it puts Oni's hands behind his back shoulder in a way that nothing else does.
Yeah.
And so when people like for a little bit when I was playing ATS a long while back, he'd like do neutral A's and stuff to try and bait out a DeGrey parry from me or something. And it
Hmm.
worked when I was like reacting to any movement on the character, but when you have a good cue for a reaction and you're looking for the spot, it works a lot less well. It just depends on what they're looking for and also how tight the reaction is because there are some that you can really focus and just react to any kind of movement that registers in your brain is not normal and then throws really good. You'll just catch whatever. But
Yeah.
at some point, like
Agreed.
disengaging your reactive part of your brain and accepting that you're going to make a guess is important.
Actually, throw for 4-day actually looks pretty good, no?
Yeah,
Because
so I
he
don't
kind of
like
does
that.
the throw
Yeah,
back right there. Yeah,
look at
that
his
frame right
elbow. I
there.
looked at
Yeah,
this
that frame
too.
right there. Yeah,
It's
that's actually not bad,
yeah. I thought
actually.
about it, and if you look at the timing here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like on frame 15. So I don't know where my reactions tend to sit, right? And
Hmm.
I would strongly hesitate to say that like I'm going to be able to react to something looking at an elbow or whatever.
Hmm.
But I think that kind of movement registers on some level for me because the really early 4-day is the thing you can react to. So in some ways, I think it's effective. It's kind of fun. Now the important thing here, though, is that throw does have downside for DeGrey. I wanted to mention in this particular situation. Um, I don't. I guess
Probably could
maybe
have
it
command
doesn't.
thrown there, right?
Yeah, like there's some risk in how it prevents you from controlling your positioning a little bit, maybe. But really significantly, I think some earthquakes just outright punish the throw with. It's
Oh,
not
okay,
like a
yeah.
super wide margin, and it doesn't happen. I don't even know if it happens in this game anywhere. But I think it's worth noting that like it's maybe got some payoff, but it isn't zero risk. So I don't know. You have to kind of mess around and see if it's really worth it. In this case, I think it certainly was good. Although as Rook, this is something like we talked about before too. I don't have you near the corner. Losing super stinks. It's
Yeah,
probably not as bad. Yeah, this is a good ground C. Would have been.
yeah.
Um, but this is a spot where like losing meter is unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. That's for sure. I just need to. Any decision making I do about how I jump should be made with the understanding that if I'm wrong, I'm getting tagged with jump super for at least one.
I'm just looking at Rook's feet. It looks so. It's like little stubs.
Yeah, little boots.
I'm
Baby
surprised they
boots.
didn't give him any toes or anything. It's just. Anyway, I only noticed because it's like slowed down and stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think that. Oh, here's a next thing's a good example. So we just talked about how ground super is down, and our super for Rook is down. Now, I'm aware of this now, and I'm going to try and think about it more in games. But we have a really good example here of me not thinking about it when I decided to jump over a ghost.
Yeah. Now it can actually just force you. It's kind of like a similar to like, yeah, I could just play like a game. This is where like the grade like is pretty strong against Rook.
Mm.
Though,
So
if you
clap's
just
pretty
fall back
good,
into your if you
or
just fall
block.
back into your defense
Mm-hmm.
strat, it might be pretty good for Rook. Cause what can I actually threaten? at all, right?
Yeah, so I think that it just sort of works out fine for Rook. DeGrey can, like, if Rook claps the Ghost, I think it's really good for him. You don't want to get yourself hit by it. That's pretty questionable. But
Yeah.
blocking isn't so bad. I think if something that DeGrey can look at doing, though, is if Rook's going to block it and stay grounded, maybe he gets to set up like a ground BB behind it that's spaced out, so he at least gets chip, and if like Rook made a bad decision and pressed something,
He might
gets
not get
blasted.
BB, but he might get 1B. There's
Oh,
no way he gets a BB,
I'm
right?
talking about like ground B for the backstep and then the
Oh
truth
yeah,
punch.
back. Okay, sorry.
Sorry, yeah,
Not ground BB. I was thinking jump BB for some reason.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So this is the thing that, like, when people talk about zoning DeGrey, spacing out Rook, this is something that people tend to reference as they're like, oh, you use Ghost and ground BB space to chip out. And I don't know if that really works out. Like, there are situations where it can, but if I clap Ghost, I'm pretty sure I just grab you out of what you're doing a lot of the time. Not all the time, but it's dangerous, that's for sure. But
You mean
this
with a backstep?
situation, yeah, I don't know. Like, with the right spacing, you're probably fine. But even just letting Rook walk closer to you because you're minus afterward, even if you're not punished directly, it's a bit of a danger. But yeah, this situation is a good example of like, this loses outright to DeGrey jump super, and like if I do immediate forward jump A, which I think I do here, I don't really risk getting counter hit by the jump super, but I open up reaction parry, which didn't factor into our set, I think. So
Gotcha.
that's the thing to watch out for. Purple Shirt mentions that can maybe punish clapping Ghost with like a jump BB to hit the recovery on the thunderclap or something. It seems.
Oh, you think you could just suck me into
It seems possible.
jump BB?
Would have to check. It's definitely one of those things that if you jump BB like that and I didn't do anything, then you put yourself. I don't think you get the safe jump B, right? If you're trying to get the punish, so you probably just get grabbed.
I wonder how well I can react to that.
I don't know.
I want to see.
Yeah.
I kind of want to test that out. I never thought about doing jump B after seeing thunderclap and seeing what happens.
I think if you wait, my guess is that Rook is able to block. Purple Shirt also mentions that maybe like Rook's clap and landslide does something weird, because depending on how long DeGrey waited, the first hit might tag you out of the air.
Oh yeah, true.
But yeah, it could be worth exploring. What the important thing here is Rook really should not jump in this spot. I have no super. You could forward A me. You could jump super me. There's like infinite possibilities, and almost all of them are.
I think the only reason I don't take 40 into consideration here is because it's a little iffy. After Ghost, because
you're like
I
a
had
little
the 40
minus
later.
or,
Yeah. So, but Super is like pretty reliable for the anti-air.
Actually, in this case,
Oh, I actually do it. What the
you
fuck?
do it.
Okay.
You got me. I didn't do.
Never
anything.
mind. I'm stupid. So.
But yeah, I get blasted out of here. I didn't do an immediate forward jump A, so I didn't like expose myself to parry. But yeah, this is the worst result for Rook. Oh, not quite. Okay.
Yeah, I missed.
So it doesn't happen. I think that this is significant with Rook. If you're playing Rook, something to keep in mind is that forward jump A, and this matters all over the place, is that forward jump A for Rook stalls his momentum depending how late in his jump he is. It like always sort of resets his speed, his vertical speed to some amount. So if you do it late in your jump, it really delays you. So in this situation, when I jumped at you, if I did a late forward jump, I would almost certainly have been high enough that I would have gotten ground BB'd for sure. So if you're Rook, you can deal with this by doing, if you do it early, then you're less, like, it's similar to sort of jumping in like this, but maybe like even making your hitbox different, sort of sideways, works against Rook. It's not like it's a good idea to just jump into a forward A and get hit, but it's important to remember that if you're going to do a late forward jump A, you're really increasing the odds that you get blasted by the 3 damage. So
yeah, 3 damage is pretty pretty devastating actually for
And the
Rook.
spacing. Like this is really happy for Rook, because what does DeGrey want to do here? Like jump back ghost so you can vines him or something. Oh, he did
Yeah,
neutral
like,
jump, and I grabbed for no reason. Top tier play.
well, I neutral jump trying to like because
Beta
the mind
GC
game
or
is
something.
the mind game is are you gonna command throw? Are you gonna let me neutral way and land and get pressure?
Yeah, yeah. So I think in this case, my like instinct to do a throw, it might have actually catched you landing if you did nothing. So it maybe wasn't
Yeah,
totally unmotivated, right? But
yeah,
it
that's
definitely
the mind
was.
game.
Yeah.
It's like that's a pretty big mind game in this matchup. It seems like
Yep, yep.
that seems like the gray has to go for like those kind of mind games, or else it's like
You don't get
a little.
enough.
I think it's favored. The matchup's favored for Rook if the gray doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Other things. We're gonna. Oh, look, I did a forward jump A there. The this one. What is it? I wanted to mention that we're talking about like Oki options that DeGrey gets, and in this case, you do this like jump over ghost, and this one I don't think ended up being very ambiguous. I think there's like a real downside to doing it too, though, which is that I'm like recovered from block stun. Like you're maybe plus a little, maybe you get like some kind of mix-up if you want to go for it, but it leaves you so close. It's definitely that scary zone.
Yeah.
So, in this case, like I get a forward jump, and I think the spacing is one of the ones that Rook really likes for doing it. I did the immediate jump A to catch a jump back super was my idea, or at least to like maybe hit you out of the air if you tried to jump late. On the downside, I think this gives you plenty of time to parry if we do something like
Yeah,
that.
I guess I could have. I guess that's true.
Yeah. So
I could have potentially seen that and just parried.
yeah, I think working that in would be bad. Nice Yomi though, got the guessing game. And then I think this doesn't have too much more crazy stuff. You get some more damage with good back A stuff. That one was a little close, but it's not something Rook reacts to. The back jump there, I don't think was ever going to work for Rook. It's questionable. Okay, this one's a fun one for people who like playing Rook.
Yeah.
We get,
Head
the head crush, and I think it's just a quick 2
And
mix
now,
up, and then,
it's just a
it's
blunder,
over.
right? It's just like I just guess wrong twice and
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do the fake safe jump.
Perfect. Round 6. Fight. Assist.
Yeah, that's good. So, I'm pretty sure that all these GCs through Ghost are like speculative based on timing. Kind of with the idea that I have this feeling that we're at a space where if you do like back A or if you do Ghost, then I think I grab you. And you see me do this sometimes, and it's like a grab that would never ever work. And I think it's just the difference of like I mentally commit to it before I know if you're going to keep moving back or something.
Yeah, it is just a big payoff.
Mhm.
Hard read, right? Like.
Yeah, and it can be sort of risky, but I think it's a little difficult to get like the really good conversions off of it too, for someone. Depends on like what you were doing that maybe avoided it. But if you like jump back, it's sort of hard to get something in time that actually punishes it. So maybe you do like a neutral jump and you get 2 and knocked down, so it could be good.
Yeah,
but...
neutral jump seems the least risk.
Mm-hmm.
With I don't know, it seems like of course, like the biggest payoff is probably like wait, jump forward, get 3 damage,
something like that. Yeah.
But the least, it seems like the better choice is just neutral jump, see what happens. BB react to punish.
Yep. Oh, and hi, Erzito, I believe, from the Discord. Good to see you. Yeah.
Erzito.
We so I get 2 grabs. I go. Oh wait, I get another one. Oh yeah, that's first one, second one. I think I do it again because I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
You get
whatever, right?
like jump BB if you want there, is the like punish that gets you damage. But I think what I went for in this spot is because I have an 8-2 lead again. We're at 50 seconds or whatever, but I just opt to run away again. So I walk toward
Yeah.
you a little bit, but I mostly walk backward. That was really bad though. I say I'm going to play a backward game. That earthquake at 43 seconds is super duper suspect. Like,
Yeah, I guess
sometimes
I
it
could
works,
have just
but
seen it and just.
you like BB hit me for 2. I'm like back in the corner, and if I'm wanting to play a runaway game and you've got me cornered, then it does get bad for Rook, I think, even if you're not wanting to commit to stuff.
Yeah, it potentially could have went sideways for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe sometimes doing earthquakes that are reactable is a way to put like mental stress on your opponent and force them to keep paying attention in situations where they don't want to. There's like people talk about things like the mental stack, which I think are reasonable to consider.
Hmm.
But I think that earthquake is one of those things that its downside is pretty bad, and it's not that tight to punish, especially if you're like offline. Online can always introduce weirdness, but
That's true.
it's not good to rely on this kind of thing for sure. And if you are going to go for it, you got to know it's like a sub 10%. If the opponent's usually on the money with their reactions like you generally are, like something like this can happen, not something to count on. Okay, but
Yeah, I get fucked.
Yeah.
Round 7. Fight.
So this one, I think, get a mix-up, but gets a nice start. So good block. Now parry's interesting
Okay.
here. Yeah. So whenever you're playing DeGrey against Rook, it's I think that this is a good thing like to highlight because you got to remember parry isn't useful in the moment of wake up because it loses to basically everything Rook wants to do unless he does something weird like empty jumps and does a neutral A or whatever. And some Rooks, like if Rook's going to do like a not meaty neutral A on wake up or something, I don't know. There's like
I
mistakes.
don't know. That could have been either. That parry could have been either just condition because we played like I don't know how many games, like 20 plus games,
Yeah.
basically at this point.
Yeah, lots
So
and
it could have
lots.
been like it could have just been like a real like okay, my intuition tells me he's gonna do this, or it
Mhm.
could have been like I'm fucking over this.
Hard to say.
Parry.
So what I want to highlight though is like parry's interesting for DeGrey in the mix-ups after wake up because wake up's really bad, but this was actually a fine one. This is after the blocked forward jump A, right? The cross up. So I go for a frame trap. You do the parry. Parry always works here. The important
Mhm.
thing that I think DeGrey wants to like think about or keep in mind is is that parry only beats strike, just like blocking only beats strike. So if you want to use parry, I think the way to think about it is that parry is like blocking, but the payoff's way better. It's still just as likely to work, but normally when you block a strike, you get stuck dealing with another Rook mix-up, right? That you don't want to have to fight.
Yeah, true.
So I think that what DeGrey goes for is if DeGrey doesn't like his chances after a blocked neutral A, and he thinks it might be coming up, then parry's pretty good. Outside of that, you really kind of get hamstrung. You lose your super, and Rook gets to jump for free and all that stuff. So that's the way I would think about it. Also works against. So neutral A happens. Rook also has the option of thunderclap after a blocked forward jump A. I didn't use it a lot. It's pretty good against a. I think it might counter hit catch backstep. I'd have to double check, but it's one of
It
those
probably
things that's
does.
like
Seems a little likely.
yeah, naturally kind of a frame trap situation, and payoff's really good. It
Mhm.
just it's not a real thing. If you jump out of it, you flip out. It's whatever. Anyway, just wanted to highlight parry's good in the subsequent mix-ups if you need the reward for beating a strike to be better than it normally is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I did if this
Yeah.
was like high intuition Parry
yeah,
or just like
just,
fuck it,
we're
dude, just
done.
whatever.
Yeah, we'd pretty played to exhaustion at this point.
Uh,
That's for sure. I think Erzito has a question about like, yeah, so in any meaty situation, if Rook's timing is correct, parry should not work because all the meaties will be timed so it whiffs, and the throws beat it outright. So the important thing is any time after wake up, Rook doesn't get that same kind of benefit or situation. The mix-ups can't be meaty like that whenever it's coming after a block. Okay.
yeah, because it's after a block. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
parry has more successful chance. True.
Yep. So next thing, I think at 30 seconds, it's gonna be a ways away. 34.
I keep expanding the fucking Twitch stream instead of Discord stream. There we go. I'm like, what? I hear noises. Nothing's happening.
Nice, Yomi. So this is a point where Rook can kind of play defensive, not trying really hard to go in. I guess I'm not totally in runaway. That Vines is really bad though.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention, so I think that Vines idea is something that I had been, it's that idea that I want to beat a ghost that's meant to catch my jump in. We talked about this a bit before, but I don't think it's worth trying to do it at neutral. Like, you were out of range at that point too, which is really bad for Rook.
Yeah. And I also think I didn't play that optimally either. Like, I think there's mistakes on both our parts. Like, if you Vines, but it's just because I don't have the muscle memory. Like, I haven't pushed this,
Yeah.
I haven't pushed this matchup that far because I was just like, oh, whatever. I just play lame and Rook gets fucked. But it's not, clearly it's not like that. I don't really know the matchup at all. But, like, after Vines, I go for AA, but clearly the optimal thing to do is jump BB.
Yeah, or Ghost jump BB. I don't know. The recovery is
Oh, yeah,
probably
true,
fine.
true.
Yeah,
Or
either
3,
way.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghost, jump in.
Uh-huh.
A.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
That's
3.
even better.
Yeah. Well, it's either, I feel like they're both.
Knockdown's
Well,
good. It depends on life
depends.
for Rook, right?
I guess in this situation, Ghost jump in AA for 3 is better just because you have 1 health and it's more likely I win.
Yeah.
But if you had more health, then I would say jump BP is better for the knockdown.
Yeah.
Potentially a checkmate. Potentially.
Yeah. So, in this situation, I regret my mistake immensely or something, and I'm switched to runaway mode to try and make it hard for you to get anything. And it mostly continues like this. Like, I want to walk forward enough that you don't want to, but I want to start pulling back as soon as I think I'm at the edge of back A range. So, time's getting low. It's incredibly tense.
I have to make a decision though.
Yep. So you do the thing. You walk up, I think, and neutral jump.
I'm trying to pick command throw. Yeah.
You got it. Right.
Yeah,
In the last couple seconds.
I see. Yeah.
You nailed it. So yeah, I also like this one because it goes to the final round, which is always exciting.
This is why I'm like, I was just too afraid, but that's why I'm like, next time I really need to start pushing.
Yeah.
Just be like, fuck you, and just walking up into the range that, quote unquote, Rook wants you to be in.
Yeah, seeing what you can
at times where it's tense and see like how much I could push that, like that mind game. Am I gonna walk right up to you, or am I trying to bait your your tick, like potentially, like, I walk up, you try to command throw or something.
Yeah.
And
jump
then
out of it, punish, or
the
bravest walk up Yomi you've ever seen.
Yeah, basically.
Yep. So we get into final round. At 53 seconds, we've got a thing. I do a predictive jump. So this is a good case where throw kind of burns DeGrey a little bit because it keeps your position locked in close to me. And when when Rook gets the 2 hits on block here, he ends up being safe. Because of pushback. He's like -11 or whatever, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't have any options here.
Yeah, technically I could have thrown out the grab here, and I recognize that a little bit. I think there'll be a point where that doesn't work, but if you're playing Rook and your opponent isn't used to the like multi-hit vine block thing, sometimes they'll try and get a punish or pressure after it, and you can get like a free command throw or something.
Yeah, I was seeing. I don't think double vines ever comes up that much, so I'm like, I wonder if
Yeah.
I still get a punish, but
You
clearly I
testing
don't.
stuff.
So
Yeah. It doesn't like the situation where it really matters, and we saw it here is when Rook's like close to touching and he does vines low is the key. Like in the Rook mirror, it comes up a lot because the multi-hit vines ends up being safe.
oh yeah, true.
And it
Have seen that.
breaks armor and all that. So nothing else really to go there. We're still playing the neutral dance.
Got me in the corner
That was
though.
good.
Oh, you
Got
go
the
for
jump.
that.
Yep. Nothing on
Go for
OP.
50-50, nothing.
Yeah.
I need better setups. I think if I could
For
get something
sure.
better at BB,
You
it
got a
could
good.
really like change the matchup like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Did I get it? I got. So this
Oh,
is
it's
good.
I pressed something.
I'm gonna mention that.
If I didn't press anything, it actually would have whiffed, which I wonder what would happen afterwards.
Yeah. So afterward, we would have both landed, and you probably would have been a little plus. But this.
Okay, so if this whiffs, right,
Yeah.
and I wait out the initial invincibility frames, can I just like super right after?
Yeah, I think so. If you wait it out properly, you're invincible at the start, so you like bop me for wanting to get out of the corner. So I think it works out in your favor.
I wonder what's optimal: super, wait, super, or wait ghost, or just like after you do head crush.
Okay. Yeah,
Ghost.
like a jumping ghost, and then you like jump again and BB. Hopefully, you want to do. I don't know. It's hard because you want to have the ghost catch, and then you get to like jump BB out of the corner, right?
Or something, or get you knocked down,
Yeah.
or something.
But if you do like ghost too early, I think it catches before you get a chance to re-jump. Is the thing that you'd have to like figure out. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to like really try out in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like it hasn't been pushed to the limit yet.
Yeah, for sure. In this situation, the head crush was meant to sort of catch. At this spacing, the idea is it would catch whatever you were doing, hopefully. Evidently, not quite. It relied on... Well, I think our position before it was really close. I think jump BB makes it look... makes you look further back than you normally are. So I don't know,
Maybe.
like if you don't...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't
Like,
do it,
I
it
have to
might
jump,
hit
yeah.
anyway. But a good thing for Rook 2 to pay attention for is
What if somehow jump B was the most optimal thing for me to do that and I didn't realize, like, because it makes
you get
me
hit.
go back,
Yeah.
so I get hit for 1. But if I did nothing, I would have got hit for 2.
Yeah, Lum's
That'd be
jump
insane
super.
if that was it.
Lum's jump
But,
super pulls back his hurt box like that too, and it happened in some games I had with Janet. It's so silly. Anyway.
Yeah.
But so something that's good for Rook to keep in mind is that normally on cinematic hit, you don't actually get safe jumps against people. Like you can't do a jump forward A against DeGrey and have it be safe against parry if you get a cinematic hit. But on a non-cinematic hit like this one, you actually are way more advantaged, and you get a proper safe jump afterward. So
I see.
in this situation, I get the not cross up. It's really hard in the corner, and at this situation, I'm up 4 life to 2, so I pull back and do the same sort of thing that we've seen in some of the other games where I'm not going to try and pressure myself into dangerous situations.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
In that situation, I do the really bad jump again.
You jump forward.
Yeah, like that's the opposite, I think, of what kind of turtle
You
thing
doing
I
that
do.
boot was pretty bad too. Like,
Oh yeah, that's pretty
I've
questionable.
already shown
That you can
earlier
react
that
to it.
I can react parry. Yeah, but I just happen
Yeah.
to not.
You didn't get it there. Honestly, I'm guessing that's a mix of probably me making a pretty suspect decision without thinking it through. End of a long set, you missing or not going for the parry reaction. End of a long set.
Yeah, probably.
But have a round end scramble. But yeah, I think that a lot of the interactions across that set, that game, were kind of descriptive of different things we found across the set as a whole. lots of the like things you want to keep in mind as Rook or things you want to look for as DeGrey.
Yeah, next time we run this set, I think it's gonna look a lot different. Like, there's gonna be a lot more things at play, I think,
hmm
and we'll see what comes out of that.
Yeah, I look
next
forward
time.
to it. I play against some of different sort of styles of DeGrey. Like Grubby does a lot more
I think Grubby
aggressive
has
stuff.
the potential. Like, people talk about the Greys. I think the Gray has potential to be like #1.
Mm.
I think, but I think he's missing some fundamental things that he really needs. Like right now, other the Greys, like say like me and Shabs, kind of are like winning with him a lot just because we have like that kind of basic fundamental plan that just works.
The like
But
defensive. I think more defensive on the whole, right? Focused.
yeah, it is more defensive because because the Gray actually has like insanely strong defensive tools. Like his neutral jump A is like broken.
Mm.
Of course, his Ghost too. Like holding on to Ghost, I think is like a big thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like you play defensive, and then once you get like that knockdown, that's when you can like do aggression. It's like a really safe like plan.
hmm
But Grubby like really has all these like crazy setups that if he could just like somehow incorporate enough of the strong simple plan to like set up things where like it's more stable
Yeah.
across the board, I think Grubby is potentially can be #1 DeGrey.
hmm
Like, I think he has all the tools, so we'll see.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, that'll be the thing to figure out when I want to see because we talked about like DeGrey finding ways to get like DeGrey more value off of knockdowns, but also ways to sort of become offensive versus Rook instead of being as like always holding back, finding the right spots to push for more. I think it'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see where it shakes out.
yeah, there's definitely more to look into for sure.
Yep.
Kind of crazy with this fantasy strike, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's whatever. I forget the tagline. It's a good game. It's got a lot of depth to it. A lot of fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, the game's fun. I agree.